And boom, how we doing?
Hi.
So it's a lovely cloudy day in Ireland. How's it going on where you are?
You know what? I was just saying it's pretty cloudy over here too. It's like warm but cloudy. So it's like summer in London right now.
Yeah, that's an Irish summer as well. So today we're joined by Michelle Lukes. Michelle, how about you introduce yourself?
Yep, Michelle Lukes. My name is Michelle Lukes. I am originally from London, currently living in LA, and an actor.
And fairly recently you were involved in the Resident Evil Village game, which
That's
was
right.
pretty crazy game. You played Mother Miranda, which was a pretty intense character, I imagine.
Understatement, but yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I, I guess the evilest character you could play. Now,
I know.
did you do any method acting for that, or what went on?
No, thank God. Can you imagine? My friends would be like, no method acting, just a few minutes to get into the zone, and then off you go.
There you
Um,
go.
you know, do a little bit of research in terms of prep, but there's only so much prep you can do for a character like that. Sometimes you just gotta let loose and see what happens,
Yeah.
and it either works or it doesn't, and you keep what works and what doesn't goes. So.
And had you any idea, like the storyline of the Resident Evil games? You ever played them? Ever heard of them?
No, so I mean, I knew the franchise, but I'm not a gamer, so I hadn't played any of the games. I have some actor friends who had been in previous games, so that was kind of my knowledge of the world going into it. And when I was cast, I it was still being referred to by a code name, so I didn't actually know that I was in Resident Evil for the beginning. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's weird, isn't it? Like when you do games, they don't tell you what it is. Is that
Yeah, they're like high profile games, and there's a lot of secrecy around them because you want to save the stuff for the launch. Yeah, you get sort of drip fed only the information that is relevant to your character and your performance, which I completely understand. Otherwise,
no? Does that make it like
surprise.
yeah? Does that make it harder to like I guess be an actor if you're not being told as much?
Yeah, it's the first. So this wasn't the first time that I've had to do like it was someone forced me to do it. This isn't the first time that I've done a video game and one of this nature. I'd done Halo a couple of years back, so that was sort of my baptism by fire. But prior to Halo, I had never worked this way as an actor, and so it was a real like it was a real baptism of fire because you're so used to as an actor firstly working with other actors, and unless you're doing the motion capture, that's not often the case when you're making a video game. You're recording your lines independently of anyone else and sometimes completely out of context. So yeah, it's a very different way of working, but it is what it is, and I love it. It's just definitely an adjustment for someone coming into the industry new.
we talk to a lot of voice actors, and they definitely feel the same.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's just it's strange. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Because you're so used to feeding off other actors as an actor. You listen, you respond, and then you don't you always get that during a video game. You're just recording your lines in isolation.
Yeah.
So to make choices, to guess, there's a little bit of guesswork. I suppose you do enough takes that and give them enough variety where they can choose what fits the scene best.
And because of COVID and all, did you do this from home or were you in studio?
Yeah. So when we started, this was a 2 year process. So the first year was obviously not COVID, and then the second year was. So when we first started, our first table read was a jolly sort of let's have breakfast and read through the first couple scenes together, back in I think 2019, and then I think we did, or at least I did, one motion capture day before COVID, and it was the only day that I'd worked with most of the cast. It was a big a group day, group scene, and then after that it was all COVID. It was all COVID. So my motion capture was done really with Todd, who plays Ethan. Um, and I mean, it was so off the back of being in lockdown that everyone was just trying to figure it out. But they were great. There was all the safety measures in play, really strict guidelines that everyone had to follow. And yeah, it definitely added to the complication of shooting mocap, which is already kind of complicated. And it was a little bit more time consuming because our creative team couldn't be there. They were in Japan, and they couldn't fly into the US. So we had to have them online, and they were obviously working through the night because of the time difference. So it was a lot of strangeness, and also for the actors, for Todd and I, it was like someone had to always be wearing a mask. It was just bizarre. It was bizarre, but we did it. I think everyone did remarkably well under the circumstances. But yeah, it was bonkers. And then the rest of the time was voiceover in a booth, which was not that different really, because you're in isolation anyway. So it wasn't that different to how it would be post COVID.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like an alright gig, in fairness.
Yeah, it'll do.
Yeah, good job. Like it could have been way worse.
Way worse, sure. Yeah. No, great. Yeah.
Did anyone who was involved in it get COVID or was affected by it?
I honestly don't know. Not that I know of. I mean, I'm sure people were affected by it. I mean, I didn't get COVID myself, but I do know a lot of people that did. So you're sort of affected by that too. Do you know what I mean? But directly affected, I wasn't. But honestly, I don't know about the other people. Not that I.
When you were doing this, like after the second part when COVID kicked in, were they still asking for like I guess for voice acting, or had it all done?
No, we hadn't. Most of it hadn't been done actually. So most of it was done in COVID. There was some mocap days, and then there was a lot of voice acting done in the booth. So actually, most of it was done in COVID.
Yeah, that's rough. I know the same thing happened to Call of Duty Cold War. A lot of the voice actors had to do it through Zoom, and they'd put like dots on their face so that they could do the facial tracking. Anything like that go on?
We had our head cams on during the motion capture days. So all of that was captured on motion capture days. I wasn't having to do anything different to how I normally would for that. So yeah, there was no weird like Zoom motion capture or anything.
Well, handy enough. So but it's kind of cool that they can do that now, and like I guess maybe one day you won't even need to show up. You could be sitting right here and just get the gig done.
Well, no, I hope not, because that means who's gonna? I don't know. Maybe it'd be robots one day, and they won't even need. So I don't know. I would love to still be in a world where I have to show up to work and do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's a good thing to hear. In fairness.
Yeah.
Acting's one of the more fun ones, so it is. Or at least I'd imagine with what you do as well, because you've done some interesting gigs, like just in terms of like normal acting. Like
I mean,
normal acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. I've had a pretty varied career. So I started at theater, and then I moved to TV. I've also done film, obviously voiceover, also done commercials. So the only thing I haven't done is radio. So if anyone's listening and wants me to do a radio play, I'd happily tick that box too. But yeah, so yeah, I've been really lucky, and I actually enjoy the variety because every medium is different, and so I think it would be difficult for me to choose a favorite.
Well, that's handy. I suppose with the radio bit, I mean, podcasting is kind of like an evolution of it. It's kind of the same. So
I mean, because there are like narrative podcasts. I actually haven't listened to any, but I know they exist. The podcasts I listen to, usually people just discussing certain subjects or whatever. But I know that they're out there. But yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's just an evolution of radio plays, I suppose.
I suppose in the end it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were doing the voice acting for Resident Evil, and you were building this character, was there any inspiration, or were they just like, okay, listen now, Michelle, this is what you have to do, get it done right.
I mean, it's not that harsh.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a guideline. There's a character breakdown. You know, I knew she was this this powerful entity that sort of ruled the village with, you know, a ruthless hand. So, you know, you're not left fending for yourself. You are given very sort of creative and strong guidelines. But, you know, you also have freedom to try things. And like I said before, if they don't work, you know, you just discard them. And the ones that do, you build on that. So, you know, I was given a very clear picture of who she is. I just worked from there, really.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's handy.
Yeah, I didn't see her until quite late into the process. So that was interesting. Like visually, I didn't see her. But I'm hoping the two match. Do you know what I mean?
Was your expectation met? What would she look like?
I didn't really have an expectation, but I was definitely impressed. I was like, yeah, I'm all right with that. Yeah, she's money. Yeah, for sure.
I was kind of surprised you didn't show up with the whole headpiece and everything, but part of the character.
Hey, do you know, I've already seen some cosplay online, so yeah, the fans are moving fast. But what fun! Okay. She's great. She'll be my next Halloween costume, probably.
Yeah, and does this open up like more doors for you as an actor? Because it's a pretty big game.
I mean, it's difficult to say. You know, with acting, it's like it's not necessarily a linear process. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I booked an amazing job. That means I must, you know, I'm going to book another amazing job. It just doesn't work like that most of the time. So, you know, it's absolutely possible that this will open doors for me, but it's quite possible that 2 weeks from now, everyone will be like, Michelle who? So I don't know. It's like a lot of it is luck in this industry.
Oh yeah, you have to have tough skin to be in this business. I mean, there is a lot of rejection from what I can tell. You know, like
there is. You know, the question I get asked all the time is, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about acting? And I always say this. This is always my answer. And I've had a couple of I've had some feedback saying it was so negative, but like I would say genuinely to someone that's thinking about acting, like if you can survive or live without doing it, then it's probably not the job for you. Like you have to really want to do it. You have to really need to do it because the life is hard for most actors, unless you're in that 1% and you're making big studio movies and, you know, living in a nice house in Malibu. It's just that's, you know, the real world for jobbing actors is, you know, working and sometimes having to take a side job to pay the bills. And it's tough. It's tough. It's a lot of no's, but the yeses are great. So yes, the jobs are amazing. The experience is amazing, but it's fucking hard. So if you don't really want to do it, then do something else for sure. Because, you know, what's the point?
From the sounds of this, it sounds like you had a rough start getting into acting. What's your story as an actor?
I was really lucky, honestly. I trained as a dancer, a singer and a dancer. And I was offered like a huge role in the musical Cats when I was 18. And so I took it because I was 18 and it was an amazing role and someone was going to pay me to actually do it. And then I went down that sort of musical theatre route for like 10 years, working the West End and like doing world tours and just having like a grand old time. And then I went back to drama school. I went to Bristol Old Vic and I retrained as a classical actress for 2 years. And then, yeah, honestly, it was, I want to say it's easy because it's never easy, but I was very fortunate in that when I graduated with a great agent, and I went straight into a Shakespeare play. So that's why I say it's a lot of it is preparation and, you know, being on top of your game, but then the rest is opportunity and a little bit of lady luck. So
Yeah.
It could go on a very different way. You know, I know a lot of actors that graduated at the same time as me that were equally as talented, arguably, but didn't, for whatever reason, have the right opportunity. So, you know, I'm always very grateful for my opportunities.
What did you think of Cats the movie?
You know what? Do you know what? I haven't watched it because I heard ahead of time, because the cat community is huge. I'd heard that they slightly butchered the original storyline for the movie, and some of the characters are different, and I was like, I can't do it. So I actually haven't seen it. But you know, Cats just celebrated its 40th year, which I thought was pretty amazing. It's like Cats is in middle age now.
There you go. Yeah, I suppose it's one of those big ones, but along with that, you did Shakespeare. And I can imagine that was rough. Like the old English kind of way of speaking.
I love it. It's tough to get your head around, but when you get it, it's amazing. It's like music. There's just something about it that is soulful, and it's just such a high. Like when you like delivering it, it's just so beautiful. I love doing Shakespeare. I'm actually sad that I don't really get to do much of it now that I live in LA, but it's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, it's a real gift. So, but tough. But once you get it, it's magic.
That's good to hear.
You should have done my English essays for me in school because I didn't get it. Like the guy is. I mean, I like his stuff, but you know, when you're talking about why his characters are crazy or not, it gets to you, you know.
I think that's approaching it from an academic level. I don't know if I'd be any good at that, but I can speak it.
Yeah, it gets weird when you're in there and it's like, was Hamlet crazy or was he secretly a genius? Like, no, he's Hamlet. He's just an interesting guy.
That's up for debate.
Yeah.
It's one of the big ones, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like some of that stuff's really interesting. Some of it's like, but it's amazing how like a lot of Shakespeare stuff is still relevant today. Like there's a lot of lessons still to be learned.
You unlock it when you start to understand the rhythm of the language, and when you start to understand what he means, it's like a game almost, or do you know what I mean, or a puzzle or something. And that feeling you get when you unlock it, and it suddenly it clicks inside your head. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, power to anyone who can get through it. Again, myself and Thomas, we were kind of sitting there. I hadn't a clue what was going on, but we got through it in the end. Yeah, it's a weird one. But back to Resident Evil. Have you played the game, or have you seen someone play it?
I have not played the game. I'm waiting for my friend Michael to play it, and then I'm just gonna hitch a ride on his journey. I'm not a gamer, so I wouldn't know where to start playing it. So I need to be with someone really experienced, and he's with me. So yeah, my friend Michael is usually he bought Halo, and like he's very supportive. So I know as soon as he knew I was in this, he's like, well, now I gotta go buy it and play it.
There you go. Supportive friends.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
So you haven't played it, you haven't seen someone play it, but have you seen your scenes?
I have not seen. I've seen little bits.
Okay.
But I haven't seen it all. I've seen like little bits and pieces.
I'll tell you now, it's impressive what they did. It's like when I was watching like a playthrough of it, I was like, Thomas, we need to get these people. It's such an awesome game. Like,
what was your favorite part of the game?
The twist that you were actually like, what's the name again? You were actually
Oh, spoilers now, Jared. Big spoiler warning on this episode, man.
20 minutes in so far, the spoilers. There's a twist
at the end. Someone might be watching this for her Halo career, man. I don't know. It's like
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the old twist. That was my favorite bit because I was just sitting there slackjaw, like.
I love that. That's great. I love to hear it.
Yeah.
I have to say the reception. I would say from the fans at least has, for the most part, in my experience so far, has been super positive. Like everyone seems to be enjoying the game. And I love that. I love to hear everyone's like personal experiences and what they love about it. It's great. Okay, as someone that's spent 2 years making it, it's like that's what all the hard work was for. To listen to those cool stories of why why it made someone's day good.
Did you know how big the franchise was when you found out that it was Resident Evil?
I did, but I underestimated the attention it would get. Like I knew it was a big franchise because for sure, there's been in my career anyway. I can only compare it to my experiences, and the interaction with fans and the support has been much more vocal for this game than for any other game that I've done before. Even for Halo, which was also huge. Do you know what I mean? So that's I knew how popular it was, but I underestimated the response. So I don't know. I think, yeah. I guess.
I think I saw something. Was it the fastest selling game or the highest selling game? I saw it broke a record.
Yeah, fastest selling game.
Wow.
At least in the Resident Evil franchise. I'm not sure. No.
Crazy.
That's good. Good. Like that's serious. That's seriously good.
Well, yeah.
That's all you, Michelle. That's all you.
Yeah, they heard you in it, and they're like, "Whoa."
True.
It's all you.
Everyone's like, Halo fans. They were like, "Woo!"
Oh, Michelle's in this. Oh, okay. It's like.
You are welcome.
But in fairness, it was a seriously good performance. What was your favorite part of your performance? Besides doing it.
I don't know if I have a favorite moment. I just really got a kick out of playing that character. I'm not sure I've ever played. I played sort of villains before, but nothing so theatrical. And so just out there, do you know what I mean? And it was just really fun to inhabit that character. So I don't know if I have a particularly favorite moment, but just getting to play around with Miranda and just be a little bit nutso was so fun for me. I mean, so yeah, I would just say the whole experience was great. It was a first, I guess, for me. Yeah, it was a first. So,
yeah. First time being like an evil character that could have ended the world.
Exactly. Yeah. I played bitches. I played evil, but I've never played an evil pro woman who is potentially gonna finish the world.
Yeah, that was like your Thanos moment.
Exactly.
Your Josh Brolin moment there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's no snap, but actually, there was comparisons to the way some stuff went on in the story. And if anyone's played the game or seen it, I'm talking about the visuals when certain things happen, kind of like relating to Endgame with the people dusting away. It's interesting. But yeah, look, it's a solid game. I haven't heard a bad thing about it, bar one guy who played through it, and you know what his complaint was?
Yeah.
It wasn't long enough.
It was what?
It wasn't long enough, as in like the game wasn't long enough.
I mean, that's a good complaint. That's sort of a back, isn't it?
Especially when there's like 20 hours in it.
No.
In fairness.
So have you completed it?
I haven't played it. I just watched the playthrough.
Well, yeah. Okay.
My setup wouldn't be able to handle it, to be honest. It would not be able to. Much like yourself, I'm not that big of a gamer, but I have my moments.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yourself. Thomas, how about you?
No, I'm watching a playthrough of it. Jacksepticeye. I know you said you're gonna watch your friend Michael do it, but if he doesn't, definitely check out Jacksepticeye's playthrough of it. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I see that?
On YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah. He's big into those games. He's huge. And he's Irish. He's from the same county that we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good tip. Thanks.
There you go. Pro tip. So, are you still like in contact with people from what's the studio called again? Is it Capcom?
Yes, Capcom.
Are you still in contact? Like, do you still have like media stuff to do with them? Like, do you know like will there be further content, or is it just you're off the hook?
Not that I know of. That can always change, I imagine. Yeah, I know that a lot of actors are doing various independent sort of press related stuff. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question actually. But
okay.
Certainly everyone's dabbling.
Oh, someone's typing.
Sorry, no, I'm trying to think of the. You said you worked on Halo, and we have. Did you work with Bruce Thomas at all when you were on the set of that?
I did, yes.
Yeah, we've had Bruce on the podcast. He's a great guy.
He's sound. He's proper.
Right. Yeah, I did. I believe not very much. Maybe a couple of days, I think. But yes, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But that feels like a lifetime ago now. That was back in, I think, 2014. So.
2014. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast he was in the new Call of Duty game,
Yes.
and he just telling us about his home booth, and he would have to go like make cookies for his neighbors because he'd be the whole day screaming lines like, "I've got to kill this guy," or "I'm gonna," you know.
Oh, it's really tough. I found that with COVID, being home all the time. Like I do have a little studio set up, but I only realized during COVID how noisy it is in my apartment. So I had to sort of rethink my studio setup while I was home, because he was like, everyone's home downstairs, you've got the dogs barking, you can like suddenly hear the birds singing, there's so many cars locally going backwards and forwards. So yeah, it's been tough. And the best time to record is at night, but then you have to like scream at people. You know, and threaten them with murder and all of that stuff, which is not great for your neighborhood relations. So yeah, it's been tricky negotiating that during COVID.
Yeah, I'd imagine, you know, like maybe you're doing some great lines and suddenly the dog barks in between, like that'd be awful.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's I suppose after doing this game, what's next for you? Do you have more gigs lined up, or are you kind of taking a break?
I do. I have. I'm part of another game, which I don't actually know when it's going to be released. Maybe this year. So another video game, and I'm about to start work on a feature film in next month.
Wow.
So starting rehearsals now for it. So.
Yeah, well, one thing I hate about like that the industry is like, you know, you can't talk about what it is. It's such a pain. I'd imagine like if actors could say what they were going to be in, it would build more hype. But I guess the secrecy is kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. It's just part and parcel of the gig. But yeah.
Do you find it difficult, or locked and shut?
Not talk about it? No, not really. No, not really. I find it easier than some, I think. Yeah, I don't find it difficult.
Yeah,
it's just like, don't talk about it. Yeah, don't post about it. Don't, yeah. I can see how it can be tough though.
Yeah, well, that's how leaks come into fruition, and I mean, there's plenty of those in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because at the end of the day, all you have to remember is if you potentially leak something, it could affect the project that you're working on. In a negative way. And at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the project. And if that means not talking about it, then
handy.
About it,
You don't want to be the one that's like being asked, "Did you say something about it? Did you leak this?"
Yeah, well, I
let that slip.
Yeah, usually it's done in a more of a group setting where it's a reminder of the commitment that you made to not talk about it, which I totally understand. But I do get how sometimes if you're maybe with your family or close friends and something related might slip out. I mean, I guess that happens. I just like to say I've never done that. See how it could happen.
Wink. Yeah. So having done this voice acting gig, and doing theater, you've done TV and films as well, right? So you've done the whole shebang except radio.
The whole shebang except for radio.
What do you find most enjoyable, or can you even discriminate?
They're just so different. It would be difficult. They're all enjoyable, but they're all very different ways of working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're all have their skill. It's a different set of skills that you need. You know what I mean? But it's all fun. I mean, it's not like a real job, is it?
Well, it depends the way. Oh my God, we've never had an actor say that.
That's a bit harsh.
That is harsh.
It is, obviously, but it's like, it could be worse. Like, you go to work and it's like make-believe. You get dressed up in some funny costumes and some makeup, and you play, it's fun. There are other things, obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, but I'm just saying in terms of jobs, it could be worse, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and the hours are long and the days are long and blah, 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 but ultimately, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, one thing I find weird with acting is, like, you're never going to know when it's over.
Yeah.
We might have 6 hours left, or we're done in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be hard to plan.
Yeah, exactly. And you can never go on vacation, because as soon as you go on vacation, you're gonna book a job or get that audition that you've been dying to get.
Yeah, I haven't been as fortunate as yourself in that one. I can go on vacation. That's a handy problem to have. Every time I go relax, I get a job. Woo!
I know, right?
Yeah. So you obviously you're originally from London, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in LA.
That's right.
What was the idea behind the move? Was it to pursue acting like more, or was it just?
No, actually, it wasn't. So I was directly before I moved to LA, I was working. I'd done 5 years on a TV show called Strike Back for Cinemax, HBO Cinemax, Sky One, I think it was on over there, and it was such a fun job. We got to travel all over the world. We shot in Asia, we shot in Eastern Europe, we shot in South Africa. And it was just, after 5 years, you just get really used to the adventure of it. And then when that contract was coming to an end, I just wasn't that excited about going back to my 1-bedroom flat in Southeast London. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I want a new adventure. And I didn't give it much thought, but LA, or America at least, felt like as good a place as any. Do you know what I mean? Because there is the potential of work there. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really give it a lot of thought, I've got to be honest.
That's fair.
I was like, why not? LA sounds good. The sun's always shining. Let's go there. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of strategy, but not much, to be honest. I mean, I had management here, and I knew that I could probably work here or get a visa to work here based on the show that I'd just done. So it just made sense. But other than that, I remember I got my visa to work, and then I was having a glass of wine or bottle of wine with a friend. He was like, well, what are you going to do now that you've got this visa? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, you should just book a ticket. And I was like, okay, I'll book a ticket. And I think virginatlantic.com, and literally 10 days later, I arrived in LA with my 2 suitcases, and that was that.
Bit sporadic, but fair play to you. It's probably a good move.
I'm just the cat's scratching at the door to come in. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
We can see it in the reflection of a picture.
What's her name?
Lucy. She's the best, man. She got me through COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, pets can be a great thing. I know. I'm absolutely in love with Thomas's dog, Max. He's just a legend. just a legend of a dog. My own's a brat, so.
I mean, they can as well. They're like kids, aren't they?
I
suppose. Yeah.
Especially cats, though. I'm not a cat person. I don't.
Well, you have not met Lucy, though. She's such a lover. It's the funniest thing.
Did you and her want to switch? We'll talk to her and you just do whatever.
Shy though, she's a bit shy.
Of course.
She's like, when you her, she's like, you're stroking her, and then when you stop, she picks up your hand with her paw.
Oh.
She puts it back onto her face. So she's like, no, stroke me.
Yeah, that's
weird. She looks at you the whole time with her big green eyes and massive black pupils. Yeah. She's such a lover. It's the best. Thomas, I think they could convert you.
Do you? You haven't met Max. He's a
stand-up guy.
He's a stand-up guy. Pretty good dude. Not much of a talker, but he uses his actions. He's a golden retriever.
I love golden retrievers.
Yeah, massive.
They're happy all the time.
Oh, we took him to the vet once, and the vet says usually he felt his stomach for something, and usually when you feel their stomach, you'll hear their heart get faster, or they'll take you can feel their diaphragm because they're a bit worried. Nothing with the dog. He said this dog has zero stress in his life, the happiest dog he's ever met, and yeah,
That's a good thing to hear.
I mean, all he does is go for walks and jumps in bog holes, so he's pretty much having the time of his life.
I mean, Lucy's got it pretty good. Sometimes I'll leave for work in the morning and then I'll come back 18 hours later and she's lying in exactly the same position.
Yeah. There's some similarities between me and Lucy, so. Yeah. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, God. I don't even know what to say. I love it's Resident Evil, this monsters character, and then cats.
I know, we like to cover all bases here.
Yes, that's what we do here.
Definitely.
Yeah. With Resident Evil, was there any I don't know. No, there was no extra content. There was no. You just did the gig, and there was no, I guess, add-ons. I don't know, Easter egg kind of stuff with Mother Miranda, or were you just kind of, I did my job, I'm done.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by add-ons? Other than what was in the game?
You know, voice actors do a lot of, I guess, Easter eggs for games, where they might be asked, okay, we want to do kind of a mini series kind of figure for you. We need you to do this. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, not that I know of, unless they recast. But I don't know whether that sort of thing comes. I mean, not that I know. I'm going to say no, but not that I know of.
Yeah, well, we'll watch tomorrow. They announce this whole this lineup of figures or something.
I know. Right? I'll be shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like we kind of covered everything at this point. Even cats. Thomas, do you have anything left?
Well, you fan of frogs? No, not much.
There you go. That's just silly. All right. So it's been a pleasure. I mean, first of all, thank you for getting on.
Of course, it's so great to chat to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, as informal as it got, you know yourself. Bit of banter never goes astray. So, if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
I would say Instagram is my fave. So at Shelley Lukes, SHELLYLUKES, and it's the same handle for Twitter. And I think there is a Facebook page, but it's my last stop. I forget about that, but there is a page. There is a Facebook page.
Yeah, there you go. You've everything covered. So, fair play to anyone who got this far. He's a class. You're unreal.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging there.
Yeah. All right. So, if you got this far, fair play to you. Take it, Andy. Good luck, and bye bye.